Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World War II, World at War. It is September of 1945. The Americans have threatened to invade Japan and brought a large fleet to the coast of Japan, but apparently with no transports, just a bunch of destroyers and cruisers. So we're in the process of destroying that, and perhaps the reason they failed is they really haven't taken back any islands yet. They have no, they seem to be avoiding any landings on islands like Tarawa or Kwajalein or anything like that. The only place they have landed was on New Guinea on the northern coast a few turns ago, and that failed. They did land on Java as well, but that also failed. They're currently battling it out in India against both the Japanese and the Germans, who are invading India from two flanks, both from the right and from the left. And that's kind of the situation. China's already fallen. Russia's fallen. Egypt just fell. So that's another victory for the Axis powers. Italy has been liberated. The Allies did make some amphibious landings on Italy and took Sicily. Were driving up the boot, but a counteroffensive from the Axis powers drove them back. France has been an utter quagmire for the Allies, and they've been defeated there. And the Germans have even landed a couple of small units on the coast of England, taking the city of Portsmouth and bringing some paratroopers adjacent to the city and the capital at London. Now, the sustainability of the operation is questionable, to say the least. There's no supplies, there's no headquarters, there's no feasible way to keep this offensive going, other than the fact that Southampton does bring a small amount of supplies in because it is a port. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. Meanwhile, we do have a few exposed units on the high seas. I did pull, in between episodes, I did pull the majority of my troops that were on ships out of those ships in order to protect them from enemy attack. I did leave a Romanian army over here in port in their amphibious vehicles because they're in a port that has mines surrounding it, so I think they're safe there. But overall, I pulled von Bock back onto land. I pulled the 13th Army back onto land, mainly because it seemed foolish to leave them there in exposed positions at sea. The only unit I really couldn't pull back was the 3rd Panzer, and I'm sure they'll die this turn as the Allies bring in their naval assets here to face us. The only other thing is Chile has fallen. So Chile has fallen to the Axis powers, and we're in the process of now advancing north toward Peru, where we will hopefully knock out another South American country from the Allied powers. We've already taken Brazil, we've taken Chile. The next target is Peru down there. Meanwhile, we've landed a small force on Australia, a small SNLF force and a corps of Japanese infantry. We've taken Darwin, and we are advancing. Now, I will say taking Darwin isn't the end-all, be-all because it's not a supply location. It's a small port. It brings in a small amount of supply, but we can't really base a large-scale invasion from there. We'd really need to get something on the East Coast. We'd need something like Sydney or Melbourne or Perth on the West Coast in order to bring in enough supplies to make a substantial drive. But that's the situation right now. We'll see how things play out in our next turn. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up and bring our turn forward here. Actually, real quick. I think I've got... Yeah, we're going to rail... Well, I can't rail them, but we'll go ahead and march these guys toward the coast. And yeah, so let's go ahead and see what the Allies are going to do here as we move into October of 1945. Egypt surrenders, so that has Egypt has rejoined the Axis powers. The Home Guard is being mobilized in England. That's a level 6 garrison unit. Supposedly a U.S. volunteer fighter group is being formed in Canada, which I wonder if that's a scripted event, because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have an American volunteer fighter group join the British when the Americans are already at war against the Germans. So that's weird. But yeah. Okay, calculating supply. Let's see what the Allies do in the way of counterattacks here. We got the obligatory Germans hinder supplies on Crete. Meanwhile, Allied submarines and cruisers are moving around there. Nice! We got that cruiser. The Americans are trying to escape their fleet off the coast of Japan, which was foolishly sent out there, and they're accidentally running into German ship or Japanese shipping off the coast of Japan, being thrashed a bit there. Meanwhile, the Allies are also repositioning their forces in India here. largely due to the fact that the Germans were advancing from both the east and from the west. All right, so more American destroyers running into surprised American destroyer captains running into Japanese battleships. Meanwhile, an American carrier out of Liverpool is hitting amphibious soldiers in the channel, being intercepted by the aircraft that we have based on the coast, but they still did quite a bit of damage, and then a British battleship comes in here and finishes the job. So the British have 3 battleships, or actually 2 battleships for the British in the channel, 1 American battleship in the channel here. Meanwhile, an American sub operating off the coast of Japan. Quite a bit of action here as the Americans bomb Copenhagen. I think we did add some anti-aircraft fire there, so you can see we did a little bit of damage to those bombers. Not on that mine, though. Meanwhile, TAC Air is escorting and trying to bomb German paratroopers here in England. They didn't do any damage there. I'm sure they hurt their morale, but they didn't actually physically harm the soldiers there. So that's good. Counterattack from some Special Forces soldiers here does quite a bit of damage to those paratroopers. So that's a pretty exposed beachhead there. We may have to relinquish any hopes of invading and taking England for the time being. But at least we did pull some of those some of those units out of amphibious vehicles, so that way we only lost the 1 unit at sea this turn. And maybe if we get some weather that'll cooperate, maybe we can actually see about knocking out more Allied naval units, because it's very clear the Allies have more naval units around Britain than I thought. At least the 1 American carrier, 1 American battleship, 2 British battleships, some destroyers, some submarines here. I wonder if a northern invasion would make more sense, going for something like Newcastle and driving south. I don't know. It's pretty difficult because they're so crammed in there, I think. But we're also getting into the winter months, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge for us. If if we're in the winter months and we can't really get our air units working, that'll be a bit of a challenge. Meanwhile, some American amphibious task force there. Looks like we're going to be able to at least know where a lot of these enemy units are. So that'll be nice. Axis supply hinders something on Crete. And calculating supply. All right. So the New Orleans was sunk. We lost the 21st Motorboat Flotilla, Torpedo Boat Flotilla, the 3rd Panzer, and that's it. Okay. In the Roaring 50C, troop transport spotted in the Roaring 50C, a battleship on the American West Coast. Really? It is my great pleasure to inform you that with our recent victories over the Allied forces and the realization of their untenable strategic situations, the Allies have offered to unconditionally withdraw from the war and accept our terms and conditions. If we accept their offer, the war will be over and the dream of German and Japanese empires will have been achieved. Would you like to accept the Allied offer of withdrawal from the war? So what does that mean, though? What does it mean for them to withdraw from the war? Does it mean that we keep our current conquests and they keep what they still have? Or does it mean that... Because, like, one of the things that I imagine the British might be willing to surrender in order to preserve the empire in India. But if we do that, I mean... I don't know. Are we continuing to fight just for the sake of continuing to fight? Like, do we get to keep all the land we currently have? Doesn't really tell me. No. I want to force them to surrender. That's going to be my objective, is force an unconditional... See, they unconditionally agreed to withdraw. They did not offer to unconditionally surrender. There is a difference there. So I do, we're going for a man in the high castle victory here. We're going for total victory. That's clearly our objective here at this stage. Okay. Although I don't really want to invade the United States. Let's knock out this destroyer. This destroyer. And this destroyer. Alright, there go 3 American destroyers just like that. That drops their naval... Wow, they built a bunch more naval units again this turn. They're back up to 25, even with the destruction of those 3 destroyers. Weather still looks good for us here. Maritime bombers, what can they hit? They can hit these guys over here. Alright, we're going to go for this battleship here, this American battleship. We're going to get intercepted, but we do have escorts. Alright. Alright, so that maritime unit did some damage there. Okay. We'll use one of our... I don't know. Like, I don't even know if these rockets can hit ships. Like, I don't know what they can do. We'll go after their battleship with our... Aww. I was hoping my jets would finish it off. Can we go after it with this? There we go. Got it! Alright, so the American battleship is sunk. We can't reach it with this guy. The question is, do we want to, like... I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'd rather use my bombers to hit enemy, like, planes and ships and shit. But I can't reach them there, so we'll just do that. That knocks out one of their entrenchment levels. Meanwhile, I am going to go for what's left of their battleship fleet here. Alright, so these bombers are going to go for this. Nice. Do we have another jet that can finish this guy off? He can. So we just destroyed another enemy battleship here. Alright, this Stuka's going to go for London because he can't hit anything else. They didn't lose another entrenchment there. That's unfortunate. This Stuka's going to go for this guy. Nice. Got it. Alright. So... these guys can attack, I guess. They'll eat up some defensive artillery. Nice! But it can't move into London itself. Damn it! What I need is another paratrooper unit to land in London now. Because the enemy unit in London is gone. These guys can't get over that way. Can these guys move? Like, what I don't know is, like, if I move adjacent to this... Okay, so he doesn't intercept them automatically. But it also doesn't really look like our amphibious guys can do anything there. Like, there's no real point to that. Go ahead and reinforce these guys. These guys a long-range transport. Okay. So the destruction of the garrison at London really doesn't help us at all. The destruction of the 3 battleships, though, that does. 24-14. Are air units all fought out now? Theoretically, these guys aren't. Alright. That'll be intriguing. Let's try this. No, they can't land. Alright, so this unit's for sure dead, because they can't land there. Although it isn't a port, so maybe they're safe there? I don't know. Those airborne are going to get killed next turn, and the heavy tank will be cut off with no supply, so... Probably over. Alright, I'm trying to figure out what these rockets can do. Alright, so we got a bunch of subs coming online this turn, but I think that's going to do it for the campaign here in... France. So we'll move south. Okay, we'll bomb there. These guys are going to upgrade because no one attacked them, so they'll get level 2 or level 1 infantry weapons. The soldiers in Cairo are going to reinforce. Actually, maybe we should just reinforce with everybody down here. Get him! Get him! Get that headquarter unit. Yeah! Yeah! Alright, we'll have this armor unit reinforce. And the drive on Khartoum has begun, with the destruction of a British headquarters unit. It's always a good start. Alright. These guys need to reinforce, but I don't know. Oh, wow. 6-0? Yeah, we'll do that. We'll destroy them. Advance there. These guys are going to reinforce by 5. Move the headquarters unit into Jodhpur, and we just destroyed a British infantry unit just outside Delhi. These guys have basically no supply. Alright, so they did 5 damage. Yes! Those guys destroyed... Oh, come on! We can't actually advance into Bombay. We don't have the movement points to do it. Give me a break. Ugh. What if we were to transport? Nope. Need the amphibious ability. Lame. Well, he's for sure a goner. The amphibious ability, we can't move him that far that fast either. Damn it! Alright, well, whatever they put to Bombay should be new and inexperienced, hopefully. Meanwhile... let's destroy this American bomber unit. Alright. We'll deal with enemy fighter aircraft and interceptors. And we'll use our fighters to finish off this bomber unit. She gone. Meanwhile, our bombers... Let's see, naval flotilla. Bombard here. Do a little bit of damage. Maybe reduce their fortifications a bit. What are they at right now? They're not even dug in. Huh. Alright, let's go for the throat in Calcutta. Alright, so we're hitting its supply, but not necessarily hurting them. We have a 10% chance of doing some damage to the soldiers there. Okay. See if our tanks can knock these guys out. They can. Very good. So Calcutta is ours, which should help our supply situation. Meanwhile, this British infantry unit here will advance into its rear and attack it. Okay. Got it! Dun, dun, dun. Another one bites dust. Alright, so move these guys back to take that. Meanwhile, we'll advance those guys. Advance these guys into the Ganji, move these aircraft closer to the front. Alright, so the Indian front is going well. Calcutta has fallen. Bombay has been overwhelmed, although not destroyed. They'll probably get reinforcements there. And Delhi is being threatened. So, good results there. Meanwhile, what about over here? Whoa. Multiple enemy transports over here. Can this battleship get there? It cannot. We'll at least move them to WWII to act as a bit of a deterrent. Move this troop to Leh. Headquarters to Moresby. And then I guess we go for hitting the lead units, maybe? So we got at least 5 of them. We're going to race this other guy down here. He's going to act as kind of a blocker so that they're going to have to run past this battleship in the event that they do anything. We already destroyed the Americans off the coast of Japan. Alright, so now what I'm going to do here with Japan is I'm going to move most of my ships into port. We're going to rebuild the fleet, and then we're going to go for a long-range amphibious attack on Australia. I think that's the plan. So it's going to take probably two to 3 turns to replenish the fleet here. Got to get them all into port. These guys just need air wings, so they'll be easier. These battleships are already at full strength, so they don't need to do anything. Then we'll just kind of sail out east. Okay, so then we're going to sail... Maybe we even go for Hawaii, I don't know. That'd be interesting if we could hurt their morale by taking out Hawaii. What is their national morale anyway? With all these casualties, it's got to be low. American national morale is at 55. The British national morale is at 44. And if we take India, I can only imagine that'll get even better for us. I mean, India's a goner. If you just look at this map, it doesn't look like there's any way they're going to hold it. Heck, we could even link up with the Germans here before too long. And all the units here are pretty inexperienced. I doubt they've got the money. The Americans are the only ones who keep kind of replenishing their losses. Their fleet is at 24. You know, they're getting by. Diplomacy. Everything is still kind of maxed out from a diplomatic perspective. Reinforce these torpedo boats. I need more destroyers and stuff. But we'll have to see. We don't want to forget about Chile. Don't cry for me, Argentina. All right, we'll move that army. That headquarter unit. We'll go ahead and replenish this guy here in case they do launch a counterattack against Santiago. And by they, I mean like an American invasion from the sea, because that's the only thing that seems plausible right now. Yeah, it's got to be a few turns before we get to Peru. Still have quite a bit of money here. All right. So Dali Waters is taken, moving inland further for the Japanese in Australia. So we've taken Darwin, we've taken Dali Waters. We're slowly moving to the east toward Cairns. There's 3 American units here in transports. So it's a good thing we held some battleships back, I think. The Germans need to get their sub back to their base to be able to repair it. You know, an interesting question will be, who do we want to take Delhi? Do we want the Germans to take it, or do we want the Japanese? Common sense, I think, would be the Japanese, as it fits more with their empire. And actually, why don't we declare war on Nepal as well? Just because I'm guessing there's not much... Oh, there is a... Huh. Alright, so the enemy does get a full core in Nepal. That seems like a stretch, but... Anywho, we're going for Nepal. We've declared war on Nepal. The Nepalese offended the sensibilities of the Japanese Empire, and so we must strike... I don't know. I don't know what our justification is for that. If I was going to do it, I should have done it a while ago. But, yeah, what's one more enemy? One more conquest. Fill in the map. Make it pretty. Paint by numbers. You know all that jazz. All right, so I think that's going to do it for this turn, other than maybe we want to move these guys toward the coast, toward, like, Damascus, and then maybe one in Jerusalem. I think for Germany, we do want to build some garrisons, so let's go ahead and build another Syrian unit, or a Syrian unit. And then Iraq is already built out. Persia can build some stuff, so might as well strengthen the Middle East position. Wow. Persia can build quite a few garrison units. Meanwhile, I do want to try and reinforce our North African possessions at Benghazi and Tobruk, so we'll move a German corps down there. Move him to Taranto, and then he's going to get on transports and move. Unless... we want to move him. Problem is supply. Supply is going to be challenging, so we're going to move a headquarters unit too. So the headquarters unit will provide supply, and then we'll start moving these guys to deal with the threat. And maybe retake some of our territory here in Libya and move into Tunis. That'd be great if we could do that. Hopefully they just don't launch another amphibious assault of Italy now that Italy's exposed. So a resumption of the offensive in North Africa. That should allow us to drive south with these German forces to rip the heart out of the British Empire, take Khartoum, take Addis Ababa. Dujabi is French Somaliland. It is neutral, but we can go for all these British colonies down here. Rip the heart out of their economy. They've already lost the Suez convoy route. It looks like they've got something out of Port Sudan, but we can knock that out this turn too. So we'll have to earn this next turn. So let's actually, we've got some troops still. What are we doing here? Let's see, we've still got some troops in Russia. Russia does appear to be silent. I'm sure that it's gonna doom me for saying so. So we'll move some of these troops over here in an effort to strengthen Italy, just in the event that anybody does want to kind of get a little bit uppity. Got a few garrisons out there still. And I think that's going to do it. I think that's going to do it for this turn. I'm not going to go buying happy at this moment. I think I'm going to wait, because next turn we're going to need a bunch of money for the Japanese to repair their ships. So we'll save that money for next turn, other than spending it to reinforce some of these units, or upgrade units that are needing upgrades. Some of these units are level 0. So we do want to spend money on them at least. Okay. Upgrade the HQ unit to have some anti-air and mobility as well, especially if we're going for Australia. So I guess I ended up spending almost all of our money. All right. Well, it is what it is. With that being said, let's go ahead and wrap this turn up, and we'll pick it up next time, guys. Thanks for watching.